Billionaire returns home at 3 a.m. Black Maid's shocking secret that will haunt you forever. It was the kind of night that wrapped around the city like a dark shroud. At 3 a.m., the streets were eerily quiet, with only the distant wail of an ambulance slicing through the silence. That's when Marcus Winchester, the billionaire real estate mogul with a face so handsome it could launch 1,000 headlines, stepped out of his sleek black Bentley. The moonlight glinted off the polished hood like a spotlight, revealing walls of his mansion looming like a fortress. Little did he know, the secrets inside held a power of their own, and one was about to unravel. Marcus thought he would simply turn the key, step inside, and into his usual routine. But as he pushed open the ornate wooden door, a wave of unease washed over him. The house felt different, almost alive, as shadows shifted and creaked. A palpable tension clung to the air, something heavy and suffocating. He scrubbed his hands over his face, shaking off the creeping chill at the back of his neck. From the corner of his eye, he caught a glimpse of movement, a figure slipping through the dimly lit hallway. It was Hazel, the maid, who had worked for him for almost a decade. Despite the late hour, she wore that same old crisp white uniform, her dark skin glowing softly under the flickering chandelier. Hazel had always been enigmatic, her calm demeanor and watchful eyes hinting at secrets well kept. But tonight, there was something different. She lingered in the doorway, her hands trembling ever so slightly, as she scanned him with a mixture of fear and urgency. "Mr. Winchester," she said softly, the strain of her voice cutting through the heavy silence. "We need to talk." He opened his mouth, about to dismiss her concerns, probably another late-night cleaning mishap he'd have to accommodate, but a crashing sound interrupted. A vase fell to the floor, shattering into countless shards, each piece glimmering like tiny daggers. They both jumped. His heart raced. What was that? She took a step back, her eyes wide with terror. "It's not safe here, not anymore." Her words sent a shockwave through Marcus, striking at a tightly wound not deep in his chest. He had no idea what storm was brewing, but he was certain it was not merely about a vase. Everything felt twisted. Shadows loomed larger in the corners of his vision, and the walls seemed to echo with a warning. "Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." Marcus stepped closer, tension crackling in the air. "What are you talking about, Hazel? What is going on?" Hazel's fingers twisted into themselves, anxiety radiating off her like heat from a flame. "It's about what I found. In the attic. It's connected to you, to your family." Her voice trembled, threatening to break as she pushed back a lock of hair, her fear palpable. "You have to see it before it's too late." His heart thudded painfully, a looming dread starting to take shape. What had she stumbled across? What could send a woman of such strength into a spiral of panic? The air crackled with the unknown, like a storm brewing on the horizon. As she turned, beckoning him to follow, that knot in his chest tightened further. He had to know. What waited in the attic that could change everything? Hazel led the way, her footsteps quick and nervous against the polished wood floors. Marcus followed closely behind, the weight of her urgency doubling with each step. They climbed the staircase, shadows from the ornate railing dancing around them as the flickering lights above cast playful yet unsettling patterns on the walls. As they reached the attic door, Hazel paused. The heavy wooden frame loomed, as if guarding the secrets inside. "Are you sure you want to see this?" she asked, her voice barely more than a whisper, a note of trepidation lacing her words. "More than anything," he replied, his breath catching in his throat. If what lay beyond was truly connected to his family, he had to face it. With a shaky hand, she turned the knob, the creaking door letting out a sigh that echoed through the silence. As the door swung open, stale air rushed out, thick with the scent of dust and age. The attic was dimly lit, cluttered with boxes and old furniture draped in white sheets like ghosts from another era. Over there, Hazel pointed toward a corner, her voice trembling. He followed her gaze, and what he saw made his heart race faster. Among the piles of forgotten memories sat an old trunk, its surface time-worn and scratched. The lock was rusty, but the latch was unlatched. The sight sent adrenaline coursing through him. "What's in it?" he demanded, the words gushing out before he could stop them. "I don't know," she admitted, her fear morphing into a kind of anxious hope. "But I felt like it should never be left closed, like it wanted to be opened. I could hear whispers. I'm not sure if it's my imagination or something more." Marcus approached the trunk carefully, a mix of dread and excitement swelling within him. He hesitated, glancing back at Hazel, who looked nearly ghostly in the shadows. With a determined breath, he gripped the latch and pulled it open. A cloud of dust erupted from the trunk, making him cough. As the air settled, he peered inside. What he found was both captivating and horrifying. Old letters, faded photographs, and a collection of trinkets lay stacked neatly, redolent of untold stories. His heart dropped as he picked up a letter, opening it gently. The words blurred together as he scanned the page, but as he read the first few lines, he knew. This was a message about his family, a dark, hidden truth he had never been prepared to face. "No," he whispered, feeling the walls close in around him. His body responded with chill, sweat prickling his brows. The letter detailed family secrets, unexpected betrayals, and a name he thought had been buried long ago. A name had surfaced, a name he thought he had left behind. As he absorbed the shocking revelation, the attic door slammed shut behind them, shaking the already fragile atmosphere. The sudden noise sent a bolt of terror racing through him. "What was that?" Hazel gasped, her eyes wide and darting around. "We need to get out of here," Marcus shouted. Panic surged through him. "What the hell is going on?" With a swift motion, he leaped up to the door, but it wouldn't budge. The dust in the air now felt thick, stifling their breaths as confusion and panic set in. "Someone or something doesn't want us to leave," Hazel stammered, her voice trembling with fear. He could see raw terror in her eyes. Just then, a shout echoed from somewhere deep within the house, a voice both familiar and unrecognizable. "Marcus, help me." The world around him tilted as he realized the voice wasn't coming from the attic. It came from somewhere below what lay behind that door. And who was crying for help? Marcus's heart thudded in his chest, an eerie drumbeat echoing in the silence of the attic. That voice, a cry etched with desperation, sent a ripple of dread skittering down his spine. He turned toward Hazel, his eyes wide with panic. "Did you hear that? It sounded like someone needs help. It sounded like my mother." Hazel's face paled further, her breath hitching. "Your mom. But she isn't she." Her words hung in the air, unresolved. He pushed back anger and confusion. "We don't have time to question it. We have to get out of here." Desperation fueled his movements. He banged on the door, yelling for it to open, but it felt like a solid wall. The dread in his gut twisted further as he shared Hazel's fear. What if they were trapped here? The trunk loomed beside him like a sentinel, the horrors within it forgotten for the moment. "Help me." The voice called again, clawing for attention in the depths of the house. This time it broke through Marcus's racing thoughts. It was a plea, a cry of anguish that felt all too real and raw. He turned abruptly to Hazel. "We'll go through the window." The idea was reckless, but fear sharpened his instincts. "If we can get to the roof, we can find another way down." Hazel shook her head, her eyes darting nervously around the attic. "What if we don't? What if we just what?" He pushed, urgency bleeding into his tone. "Sit here and do nothing. We can't just leave her. Whatever is happening down there, we need to face it." With a heavy sigh, she grabbed the nearest bed sheet and began tearing it into strips. "I'll help you," she said, her hands trembling. They tied the strips together, creating a makeshift rope. The roar of urgency propelled them. On 3, he instructed, counting down, but he was seized with a thought. Wait, those whispers. You said something wanted to be opened. He hesitated, panic battling with the need for answers. What if whatever is downstairs is connected to this trunk? What if it's hiding something about my family? Hazel's face scrunched with fear and contemplation. If we find out whatever it is, we have to be ready to face it. I don't know what we'll unleash. Let us take that chance. The desperation in his voice overpowered all doubt. They scrambled to the window, the dusty glass blocking out the years of secrets beyond it. As they peeked out, he felt a chill in the air, far colder than the autumn night. The roof creaked beneath them as they clambered out, and panic surged when he heard the voice again, more frantic now. Marcus, please. It was even closer. Look. Hazel pointed just as the sound of scuffling echoed from somewhere inside the house. Something was moving, something was pursuing them. What the hell? Marcus spun around just as a shadow flickered past the attic door. Someone or something was blocking their escape. Terror gripped him, fingers like ice wrapping around his throat. Run! He shouted, the primal instinct taking over, propelling him forward. The panic electrified the air as they sprinted across the roof towards the nearest edge, the voice still crying out for help below. He could feel the racing pulse of the house within him, the walls thrumming with a presence hungry for release. Another shadow slithered out of the attic door, now looming larger, darker. I don't want to die. Hazel shrieked, her fear palpable as she gripped his arm tighter. They leaped toward the next rooftop, adrenaline masking the terror. What awaited them beneath seemed to ripple through the floors, accessible yet hidden. As they landed and turned to face the home behind them, the house emitted a low groan as if it were alive, as if it resisted their exit, but Marcus couldn't ignore the voice echoing down below. It grew louder, more insistent. Marcus, help me. I need you. What secret lay within that desperate call? And what awaited them if they dared to drop down into darkness? The rooftop felt precarious beneath Marcus's feet as he glanced back. Shadows writhed at the attic door like angry snakes, each flicker whispering threats, urging him to turn back. Hazel's grip tightened on his arm, and the pulse of fear coursing through her made it hard for him to breathe. Keep moving. He urged, his voice cutting through the tension like a blade. They sprinted to the edge, time a relentless predator behind them, stalking their every rush of adrenaline. As they reached the roof's edge, Marcus hesitated, the words of the voice echoing in his mind, begging for help. It stirred something deep within him. What if this was the last chance to connect with his mother, to hear her story, to uncover the truth buried in the shadows? He met Hazel's frightened eyes, and he could see the question reflected in them, should they test fate? We need to find a way down, now. Hazel's voice quivered, breaking through his tumultuous thoughts. Wait. Marcus's heart pounded as he gripped the rough edge of the roof, glancing over the peeling shingles and into the abyss of darkness below. The distance felt impossibly far, but a flash of light flickered in one of the windows, a beacon amidst the black. There. Look. He pointed toward the glimmer, but before Hazel could respond, a loud crash erupted from the attic, the sound like bones fracturing under pressure. The shadows swayed violently. We're out of time. He shouted, shoving his fears aside. With a sudden burst of resolve, Marcus leaped from the ledge, arms flailing, landing with an awkward thud. Pain shot through his ankle, but he pushed it aside, gritting his teeth against the bite of agony. Marcus. Hazel's voice cut through the haze as she followed suit, landing beside him, eyes wide with a mix of fear and determination. Now. He turned, the urgency vibrating in his bones, and they sprinted toward the doorway, where the light flickered ominously. The house creaked and groaned as if it knew they were intruding, as if it were alive. Pushing through the door, they entered a narrow hallway where the scent of decay hung in the air. The walls were lined with faded family portraits, eyes peering down at them, judging. A sound from further inside made Marcus's insides twist. The voice rose again, now mixed with the whispers from before. Help me, I need you, do you see that? Hazel tugged on his sleeve, pointing nervously at a door at the end of the hall. It was slightly ajar, the flickering light spilling out like a trapped spirit. Without words, they moved forward, the floor creaking beneath their hurried steps. Each heartbeat seemed to resonate in counterpoint with the house, driving the atmosphere into tangible tension. As they approached, an eerie chill swept through the air. "Is this it?" Hazel whispered, sheer dread in her gaze. They exchanged a look, their breath mingling with fear, but nothing could stop him now. With steady hands, Marcus pushed the door open. The moment he stepped inside, an overwhelming wave of emotion crashed over him. Photographs hung on the walls, family gatherings, smiling faces, but they felt like portraits of ghosts. In the center of the room stood a large trunk, beautifully ornate, yet shrouded in a veil of dust and forgotten memories. The voice echoed again, a keening wail, "Open it. You must know the truth." Gripping the trunk's lid, Marcus hesitated. What lay inside? Could it hold the answers he sought, or horrors better left buried? "I don't think we should," Hazel's voice trembled, breaking the oppressive silence. But he could already feel an invisible force pulling him closer. The truth beckoned. The secrets wrapped in ages of dust needed to be unveiled. "Marcus," she urged, fear nodding her voice. As he lifted the lid, it creaked loudly, a groan of protest from the very heart of the house. What truth waited inside, and would it shatter the remnants of their reality like fragile glass? The moment held its breath, and so did he, heart thudding loud enough for the entire house to hear. As the trunk flew open, dust danced in the faded light, swirling around them like a dark fog. Inside, nestled among frayed fabric and brittle papers, lay a collection of old photographs, each one a snapshot of a life steeped in secrets. They were images that sent shivers of recognition through Marcus. Faces he thought he'd only seen in shadows, a woman with kind eyes and warm smile, the boy who looked just like him, and a man with an unreadable expression that drew him in. "Marcus," Hazel's voice faltered, the air thickening with unspoken dread as they leaned closer. What is this?" he whispered, his fingertips brushing over the delicate items buried within the trunk. Memories clawed at the edges of his mind, echoing the truth he had been chasing so desperately. He pulled out a thick envelope and ripped it open, the musty smell of aged paper encasing him in a chilly embrace. Words began to reveal a fractured story. Sentences intertwined with fear and longing poured from the pages, a letter that felt like an abyss pulling him deeper. The strokes of his mother's handwriting unfolded like a cursed map, revealing a tale of betrayal, love, and dark choices that had reverberated through the years. "It's just paper," Hazel said softly, though uncertainty laced her words. Marcus could see her hesitation, how the need for truth warred with the fear of the unknown, but it was too late to turn back. He felt a weight in the air, like the house was alive, listening, and waiting. It seeped into his skin, igniting his nerves as he read her words aloud. "If you ever find this, Marcus, know that I fought for you. Every day. Love is a fortress, but it can also be a cage." His voice trembled, thick with emotion and unearthed pain. As he spoke, a chilling wind swirled through the room, extinguishing the flickering light. Darkness swallowed them, leaving only the echo of his mother's voice reverberating in the silence of the house. What did she mean? A cage? Hazel's voice barely rose above a whisper. Marcus felt her fear mingle with his own, a bond forged in the heart of their shared uncertainty. Holding the trunk's lid for support, Marcus's eyes widened as he scanned the shadows. The whispers grew louder, drowning out his thoughts, forming an unsettling rhythm that thrummed in his chest. "Help find me, please." A wailing echo bounced off the walls, wrapping around him like a noose. "Marcus. Something's wrong." Hazel stepped back, her face pale, eyes darting toward the door. The noise simmered into a silent waiting, like a predator poised to strike. "I don't understand." His voice clawed upward, a plea mingled with confusion, but instead of answers, the house responded with a loud crash from the hallway. They jumped, hearts racing, adrenaline spiking as a figure barreled into the dark, an apparition cloaked in shadows, moving swiftly with intent. Run. Without waiting for her to respond, he grabbed her hand and they bolted for the door, but it slammed shut behind them with a force that rattled the very foundation of the house. The weight of their fate hung in the air, swirling around them like the dust cloaking the room. "Marcus, we can't stay here!" Hazel shrieked, yanking at the door handle, her eyes wide with terror, but the darkness enveloped them, a suffocating embrace that made escape seem impossible. As they turned back to the trunk, the shadows twisted, revealing a sinister grin lurking just beyond the light, and for a heartbeat, Marcus thought he recognized the eyes staring back at him. Who are you?" he croaked, breathless and desperate. As the figure stepped forward, the truth dangled just out of reach, and Marcus finally understood what they had uncovered was just the beginning. Between the flickers of fading light, his voice returned, a trembling question that echoed in the hollow of his heart. "What do you want?" But the answer awaited in the heavy silence, poised to shatter everything they believed about their lives. A sudden gust swept through the room, slamming the trunk shut with an ominous click that reverberated against the walls. The figure stepped into the dim light, shadow shifting and stretching, revealing a face. Marcus recognized the man in the photograph, the one with the unreadable expression. His heart hammered like a war drum in his chest. Who are you?" Marcus repeated, his voice nothing more than a hoarse whisper, barely managing to break through the rising tension that threatened to choke him. The man's eyes glimmered with a feral intensity, but there was something else there, a flicker of recognition, a thread of connection that sent a jolt through Marcus. "You're searching for answers," he said, his voice smooth and chilling. "But some truths are best left buried." Hazel stepped closer to Marcus, her fingers squeezing his as if their combined strength could ward off whatever horror lay ahead. "What do you know about my mother?" "About the letter?" "Your mother?" The man paused, a smirk cutting across his lips. "She had her reasons for hiding things. It's not your past that haunts you, it's her choices. Choices that created this very moment." A wave of confusion washed over him as memories collided, snatches of childhood laughter and the warmth of a mother's embrace, all blended with the cold shadows of fear. "What do you mean?" "For every light, there's a shadow. Love can transform, can cage, and can destroy." The man's gaze bore into Marcus, his presence heavy and suffocating. "She loved you so much that she made sacrifices, unspeakable ones." "Stop. Don't you dare speak about her." The anger surged within Marcus, hot and consuming, like fire racing through his veins. He would not let this stranger redefine the memory of his mother, not now, not ever. But the man only laughed, a sound that echoed unnervingly in the shadowed corners of the room. "You think you know her, but you've only scratched the surface. Are you ready to uncover the truth?" Fingers trembling, Marcus took a step forward, propelled by an unyielding desire for clarity. "I want to know what happened. I want the truth." With a slow nod, the figure extended his hand, revealing an ornate key, old and tarnished. "Then you must be willing to unlock the doors she closed. Follow me." But just as Marcus reached for the key, a piercing scream erupted from deep within the house, a sound laced with desperation that made the hair on his arms stand on end. Hazel clutched at him, her face twisted in fear. "We need to get out of here, Marcus. Now." "No." The word erupted from him like a dam bursting. "I must know." He felt the pull of the house, the history wrapped tightly around him like an embrace that turned into a vice. "Time is short," the man warned, his expression darkening. "They're coming. You can't resist the truth forever, son." He turned, glancing toward the door where shadows now danced like specters, and in the wavering light, figures emerged ghastly and calculating, drawn by the sound of his dread. Hazel stepped back, her grip faltering. "Marcus, don't listen to him, please." But the key glinted, heavy with promise and danger, the man's eyes pulling him in, demanding his choice. "Once you unlock that door, there's no going back," he said. Marcus's chest tightened. His mother had chained her past for a reason. But what if the caged truth held the answer they desperately needed? Torn between fear and resolve, he stared down the hallway, now a gaping void of uncertainty. In that instant, he felt time stretch, the moment boiling with both terror and anticipation. "Do you dare?" The man challenged, his voice slicing through the silence like a knife. Was he ready to confront the darkness that had loomed over his family? Would uncovering the truth bring liberation or devastation? The shadows began to close in, hungry and relentless. "Marcus!" Hazel shouted, urgency propelling her. But he stood frozen, caught on the precipice of revelation, heart pounding, breath hitching, and in the echo of that haunted moment, surrounded by secrets and shadows, he knew, the answer lay just beyond that door. Would he step through, unlocking a past that demanded to be unearthed? Or would he retreat, leaving the truth buried forever? The choice hung heavily, an electric charge in the air, and time was running out. Marcus's mind raced as the shadows inched closer. He could feel the oppressive weight of secrets pressing against his chest, tightening like a vice. The man, still holding the key, seemed to shimmer in the dim light, the invitation in his eyes impossible to ignore. "What's behind that door?" he demanded, voice steadier than he felt. A sly grin spread across the man's face, like a predator waiting for its moment. "Answers. Painful truths that could shatter the very foundation of everything you believe about your mother and yourself." Hazel's breathing quickened, her eyes darting between Marcus and the encroaching shadows. "We have to leave. This isn't safe. Do you think running will solve this?" The man taunted, stepping into the path of the encroaching figures, his presence like a dark flame. "You're already part of this nightmare, Marcus. The moment you dared to search for the truth, you awakened what was long dormant." A distant crash echoed through the house, followed by frenzied whispers that slithered through the air. Each word felt like a taunt from the unseen. Unraveling from Hazel's grasp, Marcus took a shaky step toward the man, drawn closer by curiosity and desperation. "What are you so afraid of?" Marcus's voice trembled, but there was a spark of determination igniting within him. "Show me." "Fear is for those who don't know," the man murmured, his voice dripping with mockery. "You, Marcus, are teetering on the brink of discovery. But only a few can handle the depth of reality." The figures in the hallway shifted, their faces obscured in shadow but their malevolence palpable. It felt as if they had faces molded from Marcus's own fears, reflections of the doubts that churned violently in his gut. Suddenly, the key was thrust toward him, glistening with an almost hypnotic allure. "Take it, unlock the truth your mother so desperately tried to hide." As he reached out, his hand quivering, a sudden blast of cold air swept through the room, extinguishing what little light remained. Whispers erupted into anguished cries, the house shaking around them. Marcus's heart raced as he felt an unseen force pull him back, a menacing tide that threatened to drown him. "Marcus! No!" Hazel's voice broke through the chaos, filled with raw fear. She lunged forward, grabbing his arm, her grip fierce enough to bring him back to reality. "I can't run from this," Marcus cried, pulling away. I need to know." In that moment, he felt the gravity of his decision. If he unlocked that door, what horrors awaited him? What truths lay dormant behind those walls? "Mama always said the truth is a double-edged sword," he recalled, choking on the memories. It was a lesson he had long neglected. "It will wound you," the man said, his voice dropping to a whisper as he leaned closer. "But it could also free you." The shadows surged, closing in as he weighed his options. One path promised horror, while the other held uncertainty and perhaps betrayal. The man's eyes gleamed with an unsettling clarity, challenging him. "Make your choice," he urged, just as the shadows reached for them, enveloping Hazel and Marcus in darkness. A blinding flash erupted from the key. A crack of electricity shot through the air. He could feel it in his bones, shaking him to the core. The world around them dimmed further, the reality warping as though time itself was fraying at the edges. Was he truly ready to embrace this darkness? In that heartbeat, the truth loomed before him, a door waiting to be opened. Yet beyond it, he could hear the echoes of his mother's voice, soft yet resolute. "Are you prepared to shatter the glass of your reality?" The man hissed. Marcus lingered at the threshold of choice, bravery and dread battling for supremacy within him. He met Hazel's wide, pleading eyes. There was a chilling vulnerability shared between them that felt almost like a promise. Marcus, she breathed, as the shadows pressed tighter around them. The craving for answers burned bright in him, but so did the desire to protect Hazel from whatever lay ahead. Would the truth pull them apart, or would it weave them together even as darkness sought to tear them down? And as the echoes of the past clamored for release, one question burned in his mind: could he unlock the door without losing himself in the process? Time was spiraling faster than ever, and the moment to act was upon him. Would he seize the key and plunge into the abyss, or would he step back, leaving the truth forever in the shadows? Marcus's heart thundered in his chest as he reached for the key, each pulse like a drumbeat urging him forward, or perhaps backward. The key felt alive in his hand, humming with energy he couldn't comprehend. Hazel's grip on his arm tightened, suspicion and a hint of desperation mingling in her eyes. "Don't do it!" she cried, her voice rising above the sinister whispers swirling around them. The shadows were no longer just menacing figures, they became shapes creeping ever closer, wrapping around their legs like live snakes. "Marcus, listen to me!" Hazel exclaimed, panic edging her words. "We can find another way." He could see fear washing over her, mixing with something deeper, a loyalty that anchored him amidst the chaos. But the part of him that longed for answers itched impatiently. What if this is the only way? He asked, more to himself than to her. He needed clarity. He needed understanding. With a gulp, he turned his gaze back to the man, who wore that predator's grin, the darkness around him pulsing in rhythm with the growing tension. "What will happen if I unlock it?" Marcus demanded, his voice shaky but simmering with a newfound boldness. "Only the truth can free you, Marcus," the man replied, leaning forward, the shadows dancing behind him, brightening momentarily with menace. "But be warned, sometimes freedom comes at a cost." A loud crash echoed from the depths of the house, as if the walls themselves were shaking in dread of what the door held. A gust of wind swirled through the room before dying abruptly, leaving behind a chilling silence. Marcus's breath hitched in his throat. He studied the key, its ornate design catching the last flicker of light. It was deceptively beautiful, and for the briefest moment, he thought of the hidden potential it promised: knowledge, freedom, perhaps even a haunting solace. Something inside him quivered. Hazel, sensing the shift, pressed her palms against his chest. "You don't have to do this, Marcus." Her voice was almost a whisper now, pulling him back from the edge. "Maybe I do," he replied, feeling something breaking free inside of him, a resolve. The weight of his mother's secrets had weighed too heavily for too long. Suddenly, a voice echoed from beyond the door, soft yet piercing, almost lyrical. "Marcus, please." It was his mother's voice, ethereal and dripping with emotion. "Don't be afraid." The shadows recoiled momentarily, and Marcus jerked at the sound. Tears prickled at Hazel's eyes as she momentarily let go of him, her expression a mix of realization and regret. "Don't believe it!" the man shouted, his voice regaining authority, slicing through the mist of memories. "That's the allure of deception. She needs you to stay away." For a heartbeat, time hung suspended, and Marcus felt the pulse of the world around him intensifying, filling him with an almost raging energy. "I have to know," he asserted, surprising himself that in one fluid motion, he twisted the key within the lock, the sound echoing through the air like a gunshot. The door creaked open, revealing darkness so profound it felt solid, an abyss waiting to swallow everything that dared enter. A flash of images flooded his mind, memories he had buried so deep they flickered like old film strips. Moments spent with his mother, her gentle touch, her cautious smile, and then shadows lurking just behind her. "Marcus!" Hazel's desperate cry shattered his contemplation. But there was no turning back now. The door swung wide, inviting him to step into the unknown. A chill wrapped around him, as if the shadows themselves sought to consume him whole. With one last look at Hazel, her face a mask of dread and plea, he stepped across the threshold. As the door slammed shut behind him, a wall of darkness enveloped him, the whispers morphing into screams. Marcus felt the key still clutched tightly, yet it slipped from his fingers as he fell deeper into the murky void, and just like that, the weight of the truth began to unravel around him. What was he really about to discover, and would Hazel still be there when he returned from the dark depths? The darkness swallowed Marcus whole, dragging him into its depths with a suffocating grip. He flailed, but there was nothing to hold on to, no wall, no ground. Just endless void and an oppressive silence that pressed down like a weight on his chest. His heart raced, pounding in his ears, a frantic soundtrack to his descent. Then, suddenly, images began to flicker into existence, bathing the inky blackness in a kaleidoscope of colors. Memories, both vivid and hazy, twisted around him like smoke. His childhood laughter mingled with terrifying shadows, casting angles he recognized but couldn't understand. "Mom!" he shouted, panic igniting in his throat. Just as he called her name, a figure emerged from the obscurity, his mother's silhouette. She looked as he remembered, soft and loving, but there was something wrong. A shadow flickered behind her, shifting and pulsating, almost as if fed by her very essence. Marcus, her voice was a soothing balm, yet it felt heavy with dread. "You must leave this place." "Why?" "I need to know why you left," he insisted, stepping closer, desperate for the embrace he recalled. "Because some truths are more dangerous than you can imagine." But before he could respond, a loud crack echoed, and the figure crumbled into fragments of light, scattering around him like shattered glass. "Mom!" He reached out, but she was gone, leaving only the chill of her absence. The shadows surged forward, merging and dancing erratically, echoing a deep, guttural growl that vibrated through his bones. A voice, sinister yet familiar, slithered into his mind. "You think you can escape us, Marcus? The truth can't be hidden forever." The voice was a mockery of his mother's, tainted with malice. "Who are you?" he screamed, his voice breaking, mingling with the rising dread that gripped him. The shadows coalesced into a figure, the man from before, his eyes glinting with a mix of triumph and hunger. "I am the keeper of your past. I guard what was hidden from you." Suddenly, flashes of betrayal spiked within him. Images of his mother never returning, whispers of secret deals, his father's pain. Each memory stung like molten fire. "No more games!" Marcus shouted, fire igniting his resolve. "Very well. Then face the truth." With a snap of his fingers, the darkness peeled away, revealing scenes of a life unfolded before him, his mother, slipping away late at night, a clandestine meeting in hushed tones. Heart racing, he stepped forward, catching glimpses of her real life, a world intertwined with secrets and shadows, ties that bound her to something larger than herself. "Stop!" Marcus cried, horror coating his every word. "I don't want to see any more." But the images didn't relent. Each new scene pulled him deeper, identifying faces he barely recognized, a web of alliances woven through guilt and desperation. With each passing moment, the weight of the truth bore down harder, suffocating him. "Why didn't you tell me?" The words escaped in a strangled gasp, the visions closing in around him, but the man merely smiled, his shadow swallowing the light. "Wouldn't you rather discover it here, than out there where it's too late?" In the midst of the chaos, he felt the walls of his reality fracture. The key, lost in the darkness, was now a distant memory. All that remained was the gnawing dread that he was trapped, ensnared in a web tightening with every revelation. Before he could react, the shadows exploded into a storm, engulfing him once again. He felt himself spin, twisting through a whirlpool of terror, and just as he lost hold of all that was real, he heard a final echo of the man's voice. "The real question, Marcus, is what are you willing to sacrifice to gain the truth?" With that, the ground fell away from beneath him, the abyss yawning wide, swallowing his screams. What price would he have to pay for the truth, and would he emerge whole, or forever changed? Marcus gasped, tension gripping his chest as he fell through the void. Time bent and twisted around him, images rushing by like a whirlwind. Each painful memory clawed at his heart, stitching layers of fear and betrayal into his very being. The echoes of his mother faded, drowned out by whispers of darkness that he landed with a thud on cold, hard floor, gasping for breath. The room around him flickered in and out of focus, walls shifting like waves. He sat up slowly, confusion enveloping him. This wasn't the attic. This wasn't home. Marcus, help me, the voice called again, and he realized in a gut-wrenching twist that it was his mother. The sensation of loss cut deeper than anything he'd ever felt. Desperation ignited his feet to move. He had to find her. With adrenaline pumping through his veins, he sprang to his feet. The walls twisted impossibly, but he pushed forward, calling her name, Mom. As he stumbled into the next room, a horrific sight met his eyes. Shadows danced on the walls, coiling around a glass-like figure in the center, a woman, translucent and weeping, as though caught between two worlds. Her face, though familiar, was tinged with sorrow, a softness mixed with profound loss. Marcus, she whispered, reaching out, her hands brushing against an unseen barrier. You must understand, I never wanted this. Why did you leave me? His voice broke, the truth intermingling with hurt. The dark figure, the man from before, lurked just behind her, his presence suffocating. What did you hide from me? The shadows around him stirred, eager to consume, but his mother's voice cut through the chaos like a beacon. I did what I had to protect you. They were coming for us. For the choices I made. What choices? Marcus implored, his heart aching for the answers he so desperately sought. As he stepped closer, he felt the air thicken, myriad emotions swirling around him, grief, pain, regret and love. Choices that forged lies, that led to betrayal. I thought I could keep you safe, she murmured, tears glistening in her ethereal eyes. But darkness has a way of returning. Suddenly, the man stepped forward, looming large, his laughter echoing as an unholy symphony. You think you can change the past? You think she's your salvation? No. Marcus shouted, an unexpected resolve surging within him. I want the truth, even if it hurts. Then prepare for what comes next. The man boomed, darkness swirling around him like a storm. The walls shook violently, and shadows crept closer. Marcus, trust yourself. His mother's voice became a tranquil anchor amidst the chaos. She reached out once more, her hand glimmering like hope. Remember the love. That will guide you. With determination burning inside, Marcus surged forward, breaking through the darkness, grasping her ghostly hand. He felt warmth flood him, the fierce love he'd once known pouring back into his heart. Suddenly, the man shrieked, a howl that felt like a constant threat. You won't escape me. But Marcus wouldn't release his mother again. The darkness pulsed and recoiled as the bond of love wrapped around them tightly, illuminating the shrouded room. I won't run from the truth. He declared, feeling an electric charge race through him. I will confront it. With a blaze of light, the shadows began to disintegrate, unraveling before him, unveiling a new reality, free from the confusion and pain that had haunted him for too long. As their fingers intertwined, the oppressive shadows melted, revealing a door glowing brightly at the end of the hall. It swung open invitingly, leading to brightness and warmth, a promise of hope. Marcus. It's time to go home. His mother urged. He paused, looking back, the remnants of shadows gripping him tighter. Thank you for protecting me, Mom. I finally understand. I love you, Marcus. Now let us go, she smiled, and together they walked through the doorway, the darkness behind them fading into oblivion. As they emerged into the light, warmth flooded their hearts. They found themselves standing outside the mansion, the moon hanging opalescent in the clear sky. The echoes of the past lingered faintly in the air but felt distant and powerless. Marcus turned to Hazel, who stood there, true and steadfast. Relief washed over him as he stared into her eyes, realizing the depth of their bond. They had survived the darkness together. Let us face the future, he said, squeezing her hand tightly. Hope surged within him. Together. And as he looked back one last time at the mansion of shadows, a strange sense of peace settled. The echoes of the past would no longer bind him, they were now but whispers. He had unlocked the truth and would carry it with him, woven into the new fabric of his life. With renewed spirit, the trio stepped forward into the night, leaving the darkness behind, knowing that true freedom lay in acceptance and love. If you're feeling that thrill, that connection with this story, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now so we can keep bringing you the tales that pull at your heartstrings. We want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Let's dive deep into what this all means together, and don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this conclusion. It's how you help us grow and keep the stories coming.